Welcome back to the show. Be warned, folks. This next story is not for the faint-hearted, and if you like gross stuff, then maybe it's up your alley. In a world-first discovery, Australian medical experts have found a live worm inside a woman's New South Wales brain.
New South Wales woman's brain. The 8-centimetre roundworm was pulled from the 64-year-old woman from New South Wales after brain surgery at Canberra Hospital, and it was still alive and wriggling. I can't deal with this. Let's bring in today health expert Dr. Nick Coatsworth. I mean, Doc, I don't even know where to begin.
I like it.
I just don't even know where to begin.
Can we begin with how it got there?
Yes, it's a good place to start.
Well, we can. I got to tell you though, Carl, Sarah, this was big news on the day that it happened. In my infectious diseases department, the on-call physician sent us a photo on our WhatsApp group and said, a pick of the day, this is in the neurosurgical theatre right now. And I sort of thought, well, maybe it's more than a pick of the day, it's a pick of the decade, really.
Yeah.
So, look, it gets there because a woman's ingested a worm that usually belongs on a python, a grass python. The eggs have hatched in her stomach. They've gone through the intestine.
Okay.
The worms were... Yeah, I know. It's getting a bit gross. We did put a warning on this.
Fascinated.
It goes up to the brain, and the larvae realise that not in a snake's body, in a human body, what's it going to do? It just grows, and it grows into the worm, and it does so in the brain. And the world first is that nobody's ever actually identified this particular parasite in anyone's brain before.
It's amazing.
So what? First of all, I guess the worm can survive in our stomach because of the acids inside a snake's body. They're much even more serious and severe, right? Or how does that even work, and how does it survive up there?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question, Carl. The thing is that animal parasites of all different sorts can actually survive in the human body and cause all sorts of infections. It's gross, isn't it? And we sort of think, wow, this is really unpleasant. But when you think about it, there are actually human versions of this very same parasite, this roundworm. It's a version of a roundworm called Ascaris. And in actual fact, I've seen kids when I've been overseas in the developing world vomit up Ascaris that looks a lot like the worm that came out of this brain. But you can imagine what the neurosurgeon Dr. Hari Bandy was thinking. I mean, nerves of steel, Carl and Sarah, to be able to pull this out and not have anyone faint while you've got a scalpel on someone's brain.
More importantly,
that's impressive.
How is the woman, and did it do any damage there?
Well, I think the good news is we all thought this was going to be a brain tumour. And, of course, were it to be a brain tumour, she probably wouldn't be with us now. So, in actual fact, it was a good news story for her. My understanding is that the recovery's been good and she won't have any problems. She probably won't be eating any more of the veggies from her backyard, though, which is where we think she got it from.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was going to say, what was the source? Do we know? And also, is that the only one in there?
So she'd seen, yes, it is the only one in there. But she'd seen the pythons in her backyard. She did, of course, wash her vegetables, but obviously, there were some eggs on there and they got in. And this is an incredibly rare event, which is why this worm story, has gone viral around the world in the past 24 hours.
I think we've got... Also, she had like headaches and things like that too, didn't she? So there was something going on up there. But she's all right now. She's on the recovery, which is great news.
That's right. And look, this had been going on for many months before diagnosis. It was so unusual that it literally had to get to the point of this thing being extracted during surgery for us to actually make the diagnosis. But obviously there's people around the world, Carl, that get very excited by this stuff, and infectious disease physicians are that group.
What was her reaction when it was pulled out and she knew what it was?
Well, fortunately, she was under anaesthetic at the time.
After that. Thanks, Doc.
Look, I think to a point there was surprise, obviously relief that it wasn't a brain tumour, and confidence when we were able to tell the patient that this was the end of the story.
Hey, it could have been a little bit worse for her if it had been the son of or daughter of this snake.
Oh, stop it!
That we're doing a little bit later. But I mean, would it have kept growing? I mean, there are so many questions. I'll talk to you after the show. Good on you, Doc. Thank you.
So much more to talk about.
There is. I'm into it. I'm fully into it.
You really are. Maybe I should have pulled it from your brain.
I don't know. It's been very busy up there. Eating. Starvation.
Stop it.
Oh, but
You
it lasted
picked
long.
any fruit and veg from your backyard lately?
Khan says.
Hey there, Today fans. Sarah and...
What's my name again?
Oh, my goodness. Carl.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel, though. Subscribe now for more news, special reports, and amazing Aussie stories.
And Carl misbehaving,
Whoa,
of course.
that never happens.
Always happens.
What's she talking about?